for joining us for today's press conference as we preview the Army-Navy game presented by USAA, set for this Saturday, December 12th at 3 p.m. here at Michie Stadium. We're going to open things up first with an opening statement from Coach Monken, and then we'll open things up for questions. A reminder to keep your line muted until I prompt you to ask a question, and then you can unmute, ask your question, and remute your line. After Coach Monken, we're going to have two of our cadet athletes, two of our captains, Amadeo West and Sandon McCoy, available, and we'll also take questions for those firsties. But first, Coach, you want to start us off with an opening statement?
Well, game week is finally here for really the most anticipated game of the year, and a tremendous rivalry. Our team's really excited. I'm personally excited. I know our players are. We've been working really hard in our preparation and trying to remain healthy, trying to get some injured guys back so that we can enter this game on Saturday with the best team possible. We know it's going to take a tremendous effort. It's always such a hard-fought battle and so intense. We're prepared for just a really hard-fought football game, and hopefully we can play well enough and execute well enough to give ourselves a chance to win. And that's always the case in this game. The emotion that really charges everybody with trying to be their very best just makes it an incredible competition, and we're looking forward to it. We're excited that we're able to play this game here for only the fourth time in history, and the first time since 1943, and in the midst of another crisis, World War II. Certainly, this one is very different, but nonetheless, it's pushed the game here to West Point, and we're excited to host it, and just want to do our very best to defend our home stadium. So we're looking forward to Saturday. I know it'll be a great game, and against a very well-coached football team, and a team that's just been a real battle for us every season that I've been here.
A reminder to please mute your line until asked to talk. We'll start with an opening question here from Ken Kreitzer, Sons of the American Legion Radio.
Good morning, Coach. How are you? I just thought I'd start by asking, you were obviously practicing the last 3 weeks. Navy's been playing, and Navy played a game this past Saturday. Tulsa. What did you see in the game against Tulsa from Navy?
Well, they, number one, played great defense. I thought they did a really good job shutting down an explosive offense out of Tulsa, and Navy's played very good defense just the last couple of years. Just really been at the top of the country in terms of statistics and within their league. And Saturday night was just another example of them playing really good, tough defense. They're well coached and they play really hard. And I thought they did a nice job. It was interesting to see their freshman quarterback, Arline, in there as the starter. We kind of anticipated that the way the game had finished against Memphis, that perhaps he might be their starter, and we know what a great athlete he is. We recruited him here at West Point, and so it does make them different, and you can see the explosiveness that he has, and so it'll be interesting just to see what we get out of them. From the quarterback standpoint, they've got a couple of veterans that have played a lot of football for them, won football games, but I have a guy that has the athleticism and the speed that Arline has. Is a little different, just a little different look from the quarterback position. Really impressed with their running backs. Their the two B backs that they've been using, Smith and Carruthers, who both are really powerful guys in between the tackles. They've got good speed at slot. We noticed obviously that Cooper was out again this week, but we're preparing as if he's going to play. Don't know if he will, but they got a veteran offensive line, guys that had played last year and paved the way for their great quarterback, Malcolm Perry, that rushed for so many yards. So we know they've got a good football team, a talented football team, and they're good in the kicking game. Their kickers just made some huge field goals for them in his career already, and he's fairly young in terms of talking about careers in college football. So they've got a strong football team, and it's going to be a real challenge for us for sure.
And Coach, if I could just ask, how the 3 weeks of practice has benefited your team, and in particular, you always are talking about how that time off helps your offensive line, and what your quarterback situation looks like going into the game.
We've been accustomed to having extra time for this game, and frankly, I'm glad that we have it again this year, just to try to get healthy. But the monkey wrench is COVID-19, and it's changed teams, and it's changed this season in ways that I never imagined, and certainly for our team. So not just with the physical health of our team, with the typical injuries that take place during the season, but with people being tested and coming up positive, and contact tracing, drawing more guys in. It's been a really odd year, and this year, or this week, I should say, just preparing for this game, and kind of biting your nails, not knowing what those test results are going to be. And we continuously test, and we've had guys that we've had to put in quarantine and those kinds of things, and it's frustrating, but it's part of the deal in 2020. So we're hoping, as I said, to be healthy and have as many guys available and ready to play in the game on Saturday as possible.
Thank you, Coach.
Next question's from Mike Vaccaro from the New York Post.
Hi, Coach. A couple of two-part question, really. One, can you talk about just how important it's been, not just for you guys, but for people who care about Army football, for you guys to cobble together the season that you have? I know every time you're on TV, they talk in great length about what you guys have done to try and put this season together. And I know it's meant a lot to a lot of people. But also, secondarily, what the dynamic of actually playing this game at Mikey Stadium is going to be like for you guys.
Our team has done a really good job of keeping themselves available through the testing we've done, and I think just following the protocols. We went a long time, months, without any positive tests, and as the numbers have started to spike and go up, we've had it creep into our bubble, which is scary. But the whole COVID-19 pandemic changed what this season was going to look like. Back in March, April, May, June, July, as we were preparing for the season, and there weren't teams canceling, and we really still had hope that this season would be somewhat normal. The season that we've played this year included only 3 teams that were on our original schedule. So that was just the effort of our athletics director, Mike Buddy, and Bob Beretta, who's a senior associate athletic director who handles scheduling, putting that together for us and giving our guys an opportunity to play. And so when we had the opportunity to play, we wanted to make the most of it. And I think it's important that particularly this school and this team was able to take the field and show the nation that our Army's not going to stop, that they can count on us to represent and to do our jobs in the Army. And I don't mean just as football players. I mean just in general, what our soldiers, our over 1 million men and women who serve, do every day to defend the freedoms of this nation and ensure our way of life. And so I think it's a show of strength for our military. So really, just very thankful to our staff and what they did, and just commend our players for the discipline that they've showed in doing their very best to keep this virus out of our bubble, and to have the opportunity, because of a season like this and because of this pandemic, to play the game here at West Point is really special. I told our team, I don't know if the game will ever be played here again. Perhaps it will, but in the first 4 meetings of these two teams, they took place on the campuses of each school. So the first one was here, and the third one was here, and by the 5th game in this series, it was being played at a neutral site. And then not until 1943, during World War II, we came back to West Point, and just the state of our world right now has kind of forced the game away from Philadelphia, and we needed to have a place to play that we could have our cadets and their midshipmen in attendance. And because we were the home team and we were capable of pulling the game off here, we fortunately had the opportunity to host it. And it will be special to play it here. Very nostalgic and really a great piece in the history of this rivalry.
Thank you.
Next question from Charles Grievous.
Good afternoon, Coach. With each team knowing one another perhaps more than any other college rivalry opponents in the country, what specifically do you think are the 1 or 2 key factors that will make the difference for you guys on Saturday?
Well, we know them pretty well, and they know us pretty well, and I think that's the case with a lot of rivalry games. What's unique about this rivalry is that we're almost mirror images of each other, and that doesn't happen in very many rivalry games where the offensive plan and system is the same as the opponent, as well as the defensive system. So that allows, I think, each side to really be able to dive in deeper on how to execute effectively against the other team. And I think the keys to victory are the same in this game as they are in every other game. It's maintaining possession of the ball and making the most of the possessions that you have, not turning the ball over, winning in the kicking game, being able to effectively run the ball and stop the run. Those are things that in this game, the winning team typically has a little bit of an edge, and it's hard because they know our offense well, and we know theirs well, and so it's a real game of cat and mouse, and so it becomes challenging to develop a game plan every year that's maybe even a little different than the one before. You run out of things that you do in the offense. There's just only so many places you can take it, and eventually it just comes down to blocking them and trying to get off of blocks and turning first downs and getting yourself in scoring position and hopefully having enough opportunities that you can get points on the board and have more than they do at the end of the game. But it's just a slugfest. It's a bare knuckle brawl from start to finish, and that's what makes the game so special and so fierce in terms of the competition. But winning this game is really, I think, takes the same execution that it takes in other games to win.
Great. And my follow-up question is, there are so many unique variables to this game, which you alluded to in your opening comments, such as obviously being played on a non-neutral site, in this case at Mikey Stadium on the grounds of West Point, and even no fans involved. Obviously, there's still business as usual, but as you and your team prepare for Saturday's game, does this seem somewhat surreal to you?
A little bit. I don't know that anything in this odd season that we're having seems out of the ordinary. I guess, Charles, for me, it's just a little bit more matter of fact that this is what we've got to do to be able to pull this game off. And so playing it here is just what we had to do. And there's something special about going to Philadelphia or going to one of the cities and playing the game and having fans and parents and alumni and just all of the pageantry that goes along with it. That's one of the things that makes Army-Navy really special. But once the game begins and we're in the thick of the competition, it really doesn't matter where it's played. It could be here or one of the NFL stadiums or at their stadium or over here at the local high school. We're going to play it the same. They're going to play it the same. It's going to be very competitive and tough, and it's just going to take the team that executes the best to win the game.
Thank you very much.
Next question's from Bill Wagner, Capital Gazette.
Hello, Coach Monken. It's Wag. Good to talk to you. How you been?
Very good, Bill. Thanks. You?
Good. All's well.
Good.
Hey, so I'm sure you've seen on tape that Navy's kind of had some issues running the triple option, and then Kenny's basically admitted as much. He used the word inept following the Tulsa game to describe their option game. What are you seeing there? And do you think that, considering that, Navy may come out and do something unique against Army to just change it up?
Well, if you could send us some practice film or let us know what they're doing down there, that'd help a whole bunch. We'd be glad for that information. But we've had our bouts with being inept at times on offense or defense or special teams. It's not like we've played like the national championship team every week either. So we got our own problems and we got our own things that we've got to work on and get better at. I know this. They're a very well coached football team. Kenny knows what he's doing, and they're gonna have their team prepared. And I like I said, I'm more concerned about us than I am them. We can't control Navy. What they do, what they line up in, if they change what they're doing or put some wrinkles in, we got to control our team and try to have our guys ready. But Kenny always does a great job of getting his team ready to play, excited to play, prepared, and I got a lot of respect for him and that staff and certainly all their players and the success that they've had. And there's a lot of guys in that football team there in Annapolis who won a lot of football games. So it's going to take our very best effort. But like I said, Bill, you want to send us any practice notes, I'll be glad to receive.
Hey, follow-up for me. Obviously I have to focus on Navy, so I can't monitor exactly what's going on with Army throughout the season. But I do see in the statistics 6 different quarterbacks playing. Can you kind of tell me how you got 6 different quarterbacks playing and what the situation is with your quarterbacks at the moment?
We've had a lot of injury issues with our quarterback position, and frankly, we're kind of forced into playing a bunch of different guys and playing 2 and 3 quarterbacks in multiple games. So that's certainly not ideal, but just proud of our players for being ready when they're called on, and certainly give credit to Coach Davis, our offensive coordinator, and Cody Worley, our quarterbacks coach, for having those guys prepared and giving them a plan that they could handle. So we're still kind of working with a lot of guys at quarterback, and we've had 2 all year, and we're still practicing with a bunch of different guys, trying to have as many of them ready as possible.
Okay, so next question from Kayla Jackson.
Hi, Coach. Thanks for taking my question. Army defense has been kind of rather consistent through this season, even with, some of those low-scoring and losing games, especially having, new coaches on staff at the top of this year. What are you expecting from them, from the defense this weekend?
Our defense?
Yes, Coach.
I just expect our guys to play as hard as they can possibly play and give their very best effort. I know they're going to be excited to play, and everybody that's a part of this game is excited and feels that energy leading up to the game, and certainly when the competition starts. But my expectation is they'll play as hard as they can play. Just try to play really physical, and hopefully they will perform well in terms of their assignments and fundamentals. And when it comes down to it, that's really what's going to make a difference in the game, is if we're able to execute the fundamentals of the game and play our assignments and do that well. Emotion won't win the game. There's plenty of emotion to go around for both sides. It's going to have to be execution.
Awesome. Thanks.
Next question from Aaron Summers.
Hey, Coach, you've talked about it a couple times with the rivalry and the emotions, but what is it that really stands out for you when you step onto the field that makes this game so much different than anything else?
I think the history of this rivalry, and that certainly is a huge part of it, and the fact that each team is representing their branch of service, and to me that brings in a sense of pride that it's really unique to these schools, and we're playing for so many other people, and a team that's excuse me, a team that's much bigger than the one that we're going to take the field with. So 1.3 million men and women on active duty service in the United States Army, almost 200,000 additional Army Reserve personnel that's officers and enlisted, and so 1.5 million people that serve in the United States Army is who we're representing on Saturday, and I think that having that opportunity to represent that team against the team that they represent, the United States Navy, is really a source of pride. And I think of the history of this game and the players and coaches that have played in this game, but also the presidents of the United States that have visited this game, the announcers that have called these games. I mean, some of the most iconic names in sports broadcasting have been the play-by-play announcers in this game. So this is a game that's way beyond just a typical college football game, and it's just really special to be a part of it.
For you, when you go onto the field and this game's coming up, like emotionally, what are you feeling? If you can just kind of describe what that has been over the past few years.
Emotionally, I'm excited about practice today. I'd just be satisfied if we had a really good practice this afternoon, and I'll be excited about that. The emotions of the game, and when we hit the field, that's going to be there for everybody. But I'm not going to let emotion get in the way of me doing my job and providing the leadership that our program needs.
Thanks, Coach.
Question from Stephen Ruiz.
Hi, Coach. Thanks for taking my call. I wanted to ask you about just Saturday, being that West Point is hosting the game. Have you or do you plan to talk to your players to remind them in a game that has so much ceremony around it already, and this being such a different year, to just take a moment and just soak in the surroundings of this game being at West Point for the first time in nearly 80 years?
No, I really don't have any plans to do that. We don't have time for that. It's all that nostalgia and all that stuff. They can talk about that after the game. We got a job to do. Our job's to try to win the game. So everything we do and all the time we spend this week is going to be preparing for the opponent and trying to execute the assignments and fundamentals that it's going to take to win the game. And all that. Somebody else asked me about that, and I think everybody wants it to look like the movies, and we're going to have this great history lesson, and everybody's going to be inspired and excited because it's being played at West Point for the first time since 1943, and somehow we're going to play better because of that. Doesn't have anything to do with playing the game. So I'm going to focus on the things that matter in winning the football game. That's trying to get our team ready.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Beat Navy.
Defensive lineman Amadeo West here. So Ken Kreitzer, do you want to open us up with some questions for Amadeo?
Yes, good afternoon, Amadeo. Congratulations on a great season. Just tell us a little bit about what you're saying to your teammates about preparing to play in this game on Saturday.
So we've kind of focused on the same message we've been emphasizing all season, and just focusing on Army. Take each game and treat it the same. Just because this is essentially like the most viewed and the biggest game on our schedule, treat it the same. At the end of the day, it's about what we accomplish, what we execute, and our fundamentals, and the mission doesn't change. So just keeping our heads straight and just reminding each other at the end of the day, it's about what we do and not our opponent.
And Amadeo, maybe you just comment on your new defensive coordinator. It seems like he's had a terrific impact, Nate Woody, on your overall team on defense.
Oh yeah, Coach Woody's awesome. He's just very energetic, and he just mesmerizes you with essentially what he brings to the table. He's very disciplined. Has such expertise in his field of knowledge, and just his pregame speeches are the best I've ever seen. He has a way of, when he speaks, he captures the attention of everybody in the room, and just what he's taught us throughout this year is just play for each other and just stay disciplined, and don't forget where you're representing, and that's Army. So he has a good way of just bringing everyone in together and reminding each other that we're playing for the collectiveness of the team and not as individuals.
Thank you.
Next question from Michael Vaccaro, New York Post.
Hi, Amadeo. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us. I'm curious, when you talk to your friends, your family members, people who haven't ever played an Army-Navy game, how do you explain to them what it's like?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think it's just a sense of patriotism. Going here at a military academy, there's only so many moments that really capture what defines serving this country. And we kind of take for granted wearing the uniform sometimes, but in events such as Army-Navy, it reminds you that you're representing something bigger than yourself. And it's just a tremendous opportunity. It's a tremendous blessing that we get reminded that we're serving to protect the lives of millions and defend the Constitution of the United States. So if I were to tell my family members or friends what it's like to be in Army-Navy, it's just something bigger than yourself. And it's just a great fortune and privilege to be representing this institution and the United States Army.
Thank you.
Next question from Charles Grievous.
Good afternoon, Amadeo. This is the last time that you will ever face Navy. Have you had the opportunity to step back and envision what your emotions will be like come game time, knowing that, quote unquote, this is it for you?
I have. So last time I got the opportunity to play in this game, I was a junior, and so I told myself, oh, there's next year. And obviously I got hurt, so I kind of took it for granted, and I didn't get the opportunity to just take a step back and take in the moment that this is a big event, but at the end of the day, it's football. So what I'm going to do this game is right before the first snap, just take a step back with my position group, players on the team, and just enjoy the moment, because there's only so many moments like this in your lifetime that you just have to enjoy it. But the moment the whistle blows, it's down to business. It doesn't really matter the environment or the historical significance. It's football, and we intend to accomplish one goal, and that's to win.
And my follow-up question to you, and you talk about your position group. Obviously, you guys have been studying the Navy offense. What do you consider to be the biggest challenge up front for you and your defensive line teammates?
So Coach Monken already touched on it, that the offensive line is very experienced. From the fullback to the guards and the tackles, they're very experienced, and they do a good job of just playing together as a collective unit, and just whether they're double teaming you or individually blocking you, they do a phenomenal job. So we have to, as a position group, just remind each other that this is a good unit we're going up against, and that we have to be very disciplined and fundamentally sound if we're going to execute victory.
Thank you very much.
Questions from Aaron Summers.
Hi, I was just wondering if you ever watched the Army-Navy game growing up and if you had any memories of that.
I did. So I always found it interesting how one weekend out of the year, the only teams that would be playing were Army and Navy. And so I never really understood that, because I grew up a football fanatic, just watching college football, NFL football. And I would change the channels and notice that Army and Navy were the only ones playing. So you kind of grow up watching it, and throughout the years you learn what this game and the significance it brings to many Americans. So just being able to play in this game and live out the opportunity that I saw as a child is incredible. I can't express how emotional, how amazing it is to do so.
Thanks.
Any other questions for Amadeo? Okay, thank you.
Sandon, congratulations on a great season. We've watched you play 4 years now. What does it mean for you just to move up the ranks at West Point, become a captain, and be a leader taking your team into the Army-Navy game?
It's a very humbling process, just because, here as a plebe, you start out, you hit some bumps in the road, but then I think just for everyone who goes through this process here at the 47-month experience at the academy, you just get better. You start learning the process as you get to your first year, and just to be, on this team, be a captain is very. It just really shows me that my teammates care and love me.
And Sandon, maybe you just could speak to the offensive line in front of you. You've got a number of seniors there, and just if you could talk about the play of the offensive line.
we call our offensive lineman mob just because of, it's like 5 like 1, and it's literally 5 like 1. They move together, and they've done a phenomenal job this season, I think. And I think it's because of, we have, a leader, Mike Johnson, another captain on the offensive line. And then we have 2 seniors, Peyton Reeder and J.B. Hunter, also Lucas McCleary. And I think they do a good job with the leadership and, just pushing the other classes in that room.
Thank you.
Questions from Charles Grievous.
Good afternoon, Sandon. Many observers feel that the key to the offensive success on Saturday is the output coming from the fullback group with yourself, Jacoby, Anthony, and Cade. How important is it for you guys to get off to a good start?
I like to think that we provide the support for our entire offense, and we need to provide that energy for our entire offense so that, if times do go bad, if things don't go our way, they can always look to us and basically have that shoulder to lean on, and just to know and that we have the confidence to, drive through with any trouble that comes upon us in the game Saturday.
Thank you very much.
Questions from Aaron Summers.
I asked this to Amadeo as well, but just wanted to know if you'd watched this Army-Navy game growing up and what some of your earlier memories are from it.
Not really, actually. Didn't really know about the academies until they started recruiting me. There's actually an Army-Navy Express game on CBS Sports right now, and I was watching that before I got over here. 2006, 2007 games being played. My coach, Mike Vitti, was the captain of the 2007 team, and he played as a starting fullback. So those games were cool to watch, just to know that back then it still was the same, grit game.
And then maybe now that you've been a part of it, how has your feelings around it changed? And then kind of going forward, knowing that you'll be a part of this history forever.
I think it's really cool, actually, especially this year and it being at Mikey Stadium, being a part of history. But also through my years out, I've learned that it's just not a football game. It's, it's a representation of, the Army Navy jerseys we represent. And the all the soldiers that have fallen in combat, and all the soldiers who are retired, and all the soldiers who are deployed right now, or just in the service in general. And so that's what I've really taken away from this game.
Thanks. Good luck.
Any other questions for Sandon? All right, thank you. Thanks for joining us.